We are coming up on 15 minutes past 8 o'clock. Jeremy Fisher has been building a solid solo career for himself for more than 15 years, and his latest release gave him his first Juno nomination for Adult Alternative Recording. But that likely isn't the best description of what really is simply a fine pop album, one that you don't have to be especially adult or alternative to enjoy. Fisher's playing in Rothesay this Sunday afternoon at the Barrel's Head Gastro Pub. We've reached him on his cell phone. Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning.
Now, I know these music categories and the Junos are getting maybe a little problematic. What is adult alternative?
You know, this is kind of like the dog chasing its tail thing. I'm going to say that adult alternative is the style of music that Jeremy Fisher plays, because I never know what to call my music. So I'm just happy to have a pigeonhole to call my own. You know, music genres are melding together a little bit now that we don't have, it's not, CD stores aren't quite as big as they used to be, and people's tastes have varied a lot since, music is more widely available. So I think it's an attempt to just kind of broaden out the spectrum a little bit. You got to call it something.
So you don't need to have those little plastic separators anymore that define what your music is.
Yeah, exactly, where most things fall into the pop/rock category. No, it's not like that anymore, I guess.
Well, this record is different, though, than anything you've done before. If your music wasn't been able to be defined before, now you've gone and changed it all up. How did that happen?
Well, I was trying to write an acoustic, guitar record, and the songs just weren't coming, so I decided that I was going through a real, Randy Newman phase in my listening, and I always wanted to make a piano album, and I'm not that great a piano player. I've been playing since I was a kid, but I just sort of, find my way around, and so I decided to challenge myself to write an entire album on the piano, and it started with, me learning and taking a couple piano lessons from a friend, and that grew into this kind of adventurous beginner mindset, I guess, that eventually resulted in me writing new music.
Was that liberating or intimidating as an artist?
A little bit of both. I mean, it was intimidating at first, but I found that, piano is such a visual instrument for me, whereas the guitar, it's I still don't even know what a lot of the notes on the guitar are called, even though I'm totally familiar with all the scales and stuff. And I just, I found that visual display in front of me inspired me to be a little more like, hey, why don't I just, pick at random some notes and see if they work? And usually they don't, but sometimes they do. So, yeah, I guess it was liberating in that way, and then intimidating in the way that making new music always is.
Did it change the way you create now?
Yeah, it has changed. It's changed my, I used to, I shouldn't say used to, because I still do to some degree, write on the guitar and come up with the rhythms and the feels for the song on the guitar. But this time I really left that open until we got into the studio. And usually I have it pretty much arranged and ready in my head for how I want it to go. But it was nice to go in there without having that predetermined, and to be able to, let the abilities of the players and the producers involved influence that, as much as me. I was kind of like just one vote.
It's an interesting journey as an artist, but what about your fans? Were you worried about how they would react and if they would come on that journey with you?
I'm always worried. I'm worried that they're going to be tired of what I do if I do the same thing again, and I'm worried that they're not going to like whatever new thing, but I'm just a worrier, so, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't, so it doesn't really matter.
And being fairly new to the piano, how does that change the way you play it live?
Well, I do I've rearranged a lot of the songs for the guitar as a solo tour I'm on right now, so I'm just playing guitar, but when I play with the band, it's funny, I learned, I wrote the songs and I had to learn to play them really well. And I got to my first show with the band where I was playing keyboards, and I realized I couldn't sing into the microphone because I had to look at my hands all the time. So then I had to practice playing the piano with my eyes closed. And it was a long process to get to the point where I just felt comfortable enough to perform, a handful of songs, which is all I can perform on the piano. I can only do the ones that I do. I can't just sit down and improvise or just play a song that I kind of know the chords to. I have to be very disciplined about it, which is sort of a good thing.
Wow, a live show is hard enough, but then trying to add a new instrument into the mix is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, it is, and I realize that I've been playing guitar for so long. I started when I was 12. I'm 38 now, and that I don't even think about the guitar because it's like an extension of my body, almost extension of my fingers. It feels like because it's grown up with me, and piano's not that way. So yeah, it's gets the nerves going, but I don't know. Maybe nerves aren't such a bad thing.
You mentioned Newman. What are your other musical influences?
Going into writing this record, I tried to listen to a lot of piano players like Elton John and Billy Joel and, those classic 70s singer-songwriters. But, the reason I picked up the guitar in the first place and started playing music is because of AC/DC. So there's always an element of that in, an undercurrent, I guess, of the hard rock, the pop/rock we talked about earlier. in my writing.
And how did the Serena Ryder duet come about?
I was trying to, hit the high notes on those backup vocals, and I thought of her because she's got probably the greatest range and ability with her vocals of anybody I know, and so I just sent it to her in an email, and I said, hey, would you be interested in singing on this? And she said she would, and she had to be on vacation in California, so we never even spent any time in the studio together. I emailed her the tracks. She went into a friend's studio down the street, recorded them, sent them back, and we threw them into the mix. It was really effortless. She's such a pro. We didn't even have to do anything to them. They were perfect. Everything she did was perfect.
Now, it sounds like you're in a vehicle this time around for your tour on the East Coast.
I am in a compact vehicle.
Not as compact as the first time you toured for your first record here.
Not quite. No, I was thinking about that today, actually. Yeah, the first time I toured the East Coast was on a bicycle in 2002, and I rode from Seattle to Halifax. How
in the world do you do that? And why? Why?
Well, why? That's a big question, but I think I was just determined to go out and tour the album I had recorded, and the only means I had to get across the country were my bicycle and my legs. So I'd done some bike touring before, so I knew roughly how to time it out. And it was just something that I wanted to do, It was like a personal challenge. And I got to say, even though it's, technically it's easier, it's lazier to drive in a car. In some ways, I miss those days of bike touring for the ease of, the ease on my state of mind. It was really good for my mental health and my physical health. I always felt good when I showed up at shows. Never missed one either, by the way.
Well, it really sounds like you're not afraid to take on a challenge or try something different, whether it be with your touring or with your music.
I try to live that way. I wouldn't say I'm the most fearless person that I know, but I am inspired by people who just go for it. And so I'm proud of myself that sometimes in life I've done that, and I still manage to do that from time to time because it feels good.
Safe travels to New Brunswick. We look forward to hearing you on Sunday.
Hey, thanks a lot. I look forward to coming back.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jeremy Fisher is playing the Barrel's Head Gastropub in Rothsay Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Tickets are $15 in advance, $20 at the door. But hang on. Jeremy Fisher is the subject of our Friday morning song contest. And here are the numbers that you'll need to play. 642-3305, 1-800-668-4913. Pair of tickets to give away to that Sunday afternoon show of Jeremy Fisher's at the Gastropub. Fourth caller through with the correct answer to our trivia question gets those tickets. Back in 2008, Fisher was in St. John as the opening act for a popular Scottish musical act. Name them. 642-3305, 1-800-668-4913. So while you dial, here is Jeremy Fisher with that duet he recorded with Serena Ryder using email. This is Uh-Oh.
You can't prove it, oh, you got nothing legit, oh, the glove don't fit, oh, you gotta quit, oh, I didn't smoke it, oh, that's all you're gonna get, oh, I'll never admit, oh, I never took a hit, oh, the charges won't stick, cause Monday morning I'm a brand new man, Tuesday catch me if you can, Wednesday night I got a alibi, Thursday, Friday catch some heat, Saturday night I got a fever, beat the press in my Sunday best. You can't prove it, oh, you got nothing legit, oh, the glove don't fit, oh, you gotta quit, oh, the charges won't stick, cause Monday morning I'm a brand new man, Tuesday catch me if you can, Wednesday night I got a alibi, Thursday, Friday catch some heat, Saturday night I got a fever, beat the press in my Sunday bed. I ain't no sucker, ain't your lollipop, but you can kiss my sweet, never gonna stop, never gonna stop, never gonna stop, chasing me like I'm the holy grail, like a dog chases his tail, I'm never gonna stop, never gonna stop, never gonna stop, never gonna stop, you can't prove shit, you got nothing legit, the glove don't fit, you gotta quit, the charges won't stick, cause Monday morning I'm a brand new man, Tuesday catch me if you can, Wednesday night I got a alibi, Thursday, Friday catch some heat, Saturday night I got a fever, beat the press in my Sunday bed. I ain't no sucker, ain't your lollipop, but you can kiss my sweet, never gonna stop, never gonna stop, never gonna stop, chasing me like I'm the holy grail, like a dog chases his tail, I'm never gonna stop, never gonna stop, never gonna stop, never gonna stop, you can't prove it, you're never gonna prove it, you can't prove it, you're never ever gonna prove it,
Jeremy Fisher and Serena Ryder with Uh-Oh, and congratulations to Stacy Field for knowing Jeremy Fisher was in St. John in 2008 as the opening act for the Proclaimers. Stacy wins a pair of tickets to see Jeremy's show at the Barrel's Head Gastropub in Rothsay Sunday afternoon. Tickets are available. Show starts at 3 in the afternoon. Great way to spend a Sunday. Weather shouldn't be